brother. Start cleaning those tires up. Don't bring this time. Remember, they fan out down there, so protect that bottom. Sunday drive. All right, boss man. Hey, car's off. Be ready. Be ready. Gas that bitch up. Ready. Green flag. Green.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Inside Pass. It's Monday night. If you're listening to us live on PMN or Race Chaser Online or wherever you're listening to our show from, greetings. It is another night of the Inside Pass. I'm Randy Miller. Noah Lewis is sitting next to me. He's finally back from his 1-week vacation. Tom's sitting next to him, and then Peter over in the Soman seat. Malik is pushing buttons for us. And as we always do, we start the show off by going to our strutmasters.com hotline and bringing on our guest for the night. Excited to have him on the show, and he is hopefully going to do big things here in the next couple of weeks. Going to be driving some selected races for Kaulig Racing, including hopefully running in the Daytona 500. Kaz Grala is on the strutmasters.com hotline. Good evening, sir. Thank you so much for taking some time out to join us tonight.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on tonight, guys.
So, Kaulig Racing and the attempted Daytona 500, first time in the Kaulig car, first time Kaulig has tried to run the Daytona 500 in a Cup Series car. What are your thoughts? Are you happy, nervous, scared? What's going through your mind right now?
Well, first of all, I'm thrilled. This is a huge opportunity for me personally, and really, it's seeing hopefully a dream be able to come true, or at least be able to attempt at that, because since I was a little kid, I've always watched the Daytona 500. So to be there that weekend and be a part of the scene and to have my name above the window on a car is going to be really surreal. So I'm excited for it. I am counting down the seconds, and I'm really crossing my fingers that we'll be able to transfer either through qualifying or through the duels into the 500. But I definitely have a lot of confidence in Kaulig Racing. They build fast cars. I mean, they've won almost all of the super speedway races in the last couple of years in Xfinity, and last year was their first year doing the Daytona 500 with Justin Haley driving, and they finished 13th in that. They locked in on speed in qualifying. So there's definitely a lot of positives and a lot of reasons to think that we've got a legitimate shot at making it into the race, but it certainly isn't going to be easy this year. There's a lot of big names and a lot of great teams trying to make the show as open cars, so we've got our work cut out for us, but I'm really looking forward to it, and hopefully we'll have some fun on a Sunday.
Well, I've got to believe, Kaz, that you're going to have a lot of help there because, of course, A.J. Allmendinger's been in Cup. Justin's obviously been at Daytona and had some great success there. So I know you're going to have a lot of people around you to help you out, but you're no stranger to running super speedways with the trucks and Xfinity cars yourself. What kind of preparation are you doing right now for the race, and how do you feel like running the Cup race, the actual 500, will be different for you than running, say, the truck race or the Xfinity race, other than the obvious, it's the 500?
Well, there's definitely going to be a lot of differences. I think the Cup field seems to approach the super speedway races a little bit differently than a lot of guys in Xfinity and trucks. Rather than just trying to survive the race, those guys pretty much get up there and dice it up and go for it right from the start the majority of the time. And not to mention, every single one of them knows exactly what they're doing and is very experienced at plate racing, which is something that most of the truck and Xfinity field can't necessarily say. So I do think that it's going to be a different type of race than what I've seen in the past on a plate track. But at the end of the day, air is air. It moves the same way for everybody in every series. So I've experienced that at least, and so I'm happy about it. I feel like I have a general idea of what to expect, but it's one of those types of racing that you cannot prepare for in a simulator,
Yeah.
really. You can't practice for it. What I have been doing is some races on super speedways, and I'll continue to do that just to try to stay sharp and stay in that mindset. But as far as like the manufacturer simulators and what they have available at RCR, you know, those types of simulators are not designed for plate race simulations. So it's definitely a little bit different. And it's weird that there's this whole off season leading up to this race. So you have more time than any other race all year, and yet there isn't that much as a driver that you can necessarily do to prepare yourself training-wise besides just working out and staying on your diet all off-season and all that good stuff, which, of course, I've been on top of, and think that I'm as prepared as I can be for it. But you mentioned I have a lot of good people to lean on. Everybody at Kaulig Racing is extremely seasoned at plate racing and proven winners. Justin, AJ. The problem is they're not out there to help me. They can just talk to me. So I need people out there that'll work with me. That's what I'm hoping for. But I know that there's a lot of great Chevrolet teams and a lot of cars running off the RCR campus as well that I think we'll all be able to work together. So hopefully we can find ourselves near some of those guys in the duel, and that might help us a bit.
Yeah, Kaz, it's no surprise that you're getting this opportunity. Let's jump back last year when you hopped into the RCR Cup car. Obviously, some unforeseen circumstances there, subbing in for Austin Dillon, but coming into the Daytona road course and then finishing 7th, a top 10 in your first ever Cup start. These are the guys you've probably looked up to for a long time, and you're jumping in there, mixing it up, leading laps. Talk about what kind of experience you gained from that, what you can take over now, focusing more on a road course and super speedway schedule, and just how much confidence that gives you, knowing that you have what you didn't know was going to come last year, that experience under your belt.
I think the confidence piece is huge, and I've been guilty of it myself, and not believing like, well, what does momentum and what does confidence really affect in racing? You know, it sounds like a myth. It's like the vortex effect, but it really, it's legitimate. It does something. I think it changes the way that you race and what you can do behind the wheel when you feel like you can do it. You'll take more risks. You'll be faster. You'll do more. So I think that race for me is huge, even though you really can't have much more polar opposite of racetracks than a road course versus a super speedway. Mm-hmm. They are totally different, but that confidence piece is big. And you mentioned all these guys I've looked up to, I've watched on TV since I was a little kid. They have so much success, so much experience, huge names. That's hard to get out there and race with those guys the first few times and think that you can be competitive with them. But I was able to show myself that, hey, okay, I can do this. I can race with these guys. Now I know that. So I think that helps ease some of the nerves going into 500 weekend and feel like, all right, I feel like I belong here. I think that I can race with these guys up there. So now it's just time to go out and try to do that. So I'm definitely kind of springboarding off of that debut and hopefully carrying over some Daytona luck. I've had good races at Daytona for some reason in every series. It's just something about that place, no matter what the track configuration, seems to just work for me. So I'm really hoping that whatever it is carries through at least just one more weekend for me. Just keep the good luck a little bit longer. That's what I need.
Kaz, Noah already mentioned your strong Cup debut and the strong result you had under such unforeseen circumstances. Do you think the strong result that day really put you on the map in terms of a potential Cup driver and saw your stock rise among potential team owners or sponsors?
I absolutely think so. I mean, before that, I was a part-time Xfinity racer, and I think that's kind of what people thought of me as. And I'd like to think that I did well for my limited schedule, but at the end of the day, you would be considered for Xfinity rides as a part-time Xfinity racer. I didn't think I was on the map for any Cup rides, honestly, and I doubt that anybody else did either. But all of a sudden, you go out in a Cup race and you show everybody you can do it with those guys. To me, that changes everything in terms of a driver's stock and what people would consider them for. And I think that proves that I can do it with those guys. And so why not consider me for some Cup opportunities? And that's exactly what happened. I had a lot of conversations over the off season with different teams, organizations about some Cup possibilities. And a lot of people had interest. And really the Kaulig move it makes the most sense. It's the best fit. I've worked with those guys indirectly, being at RCR, which is a corporate partner of theirs. the last couple of years, I've gotten to know everybody over there well, and they've gotten to know me. I know what they're capable of, their cars. We're basically teammates. So to move over there, still work with essentially all the same people that I have been already, I think is really going to help ease the transition. And I mean, anytime you move to a new team and definitely a new series, you've got the bugs to work out, the communication, figure out how to mesh well together. And when you're running part-time, that all kind of has to happen very rapidly. So I think the fact that I'll be working with people that I already have a working relationship with, hopefully will just smooth that transition right over. And I guess we don't have much time because we got practice and qualifying on Wednesday. We better have our stuff together on Thursday because we need to make sure we're in the race. So we don't have much time, but I think we can all do it.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Rice and all the guys at Kaulig are good friends of the show. That they've been on the show many times, and I think Tom and even Noah and Peter can also attest to how close-knit that team is over there, how much of a family they all are, and how much they will not only welcome you onto the team, but basically become part of the family that Chris Rice has created over there. And so we definitely want to wish you the best of luck, not only with your potential to run the 500, but also all the things that you're going to be doing this year. We wish you much great success, and we want you to come back on here many times after you win races and get a full-time opportunity.
Well, I appreciate that. And I mean, they really are. It's a family organization over there. It's got a great feel, great environment, and they've definitely welcomed me with open arms. Yep. So not only do I hope we'll do great things on the track this year, but I know we're going to have a lot of fun while we do it. So it's definitely a good place to be, and hopefully this year and these races that we do together will be the start of a long-term relationship, because it's an excellent place to be.
Kaz, we certainly wish you the best of luck, and good luck with the 500, and we will see you again real soon. We are going to take a break. We'll be back with more of the Inside Pass right after this.
Do you love the sound of high-revving motors and the smell of burning rubber? Do you want to get your car sideways right at the ragged edge of control? If you've always wanted to try drifting or learn to improve your drifting skills, Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier motorsports facility, has the expert instructors and the specialized track to teach you how to drift and the skills necessary to drift competitively. From skid pad to open sessions, Summit Point Motorsports Park has the safe and open environment that allows drifters of all skill levels, new to intermediate, to get sideways and smoking. With a focus on safety and the skill set necessary to drift competitively, Summit Point Motorsports Park's Drift Nirvana is just the thing for you. Call for your reservation today, 304-725-8444. Or for more information, go online, summitpoint-raceway.com, or you can email them at office@bsrinc.com. Drift Nirvana, getting you sideways the right way.
Victory Custom Trailers is the place to go for your next new or used trailer or coach. Being personally involved in the racing community allows Victory to fully understand what racers need in a trailer. They have over 200 coaches and trailers in stock for a variety of industries, and they can serve anyone in the continental U.S. If you're looking for something custom, they can assist in designing a trailer that fit your needs. Check out their entire inventory online at victorycustomtrailers.com.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. Beware of telephone scammers pretending to be government employees. Real Social Security employees will never threaten you. Callers threatening you with arrest or other legal action and demanding money are not from us. If you receive a call like this, hang up, do not provide them with any form of payment or information. Report the call at oig.ssa.gov.
What an awesome game. What's up with your car? I don't know. It won't start. How are we getting home? Chill. My parents signed me up for the roadside assistance from Lewis Meineke. It was free with my oil change. They'd come and get the car started or get us home and tow the car to the shop.
Good to know. With my driving, my parents never know what to expect.
When you join the Meineke Car Care Club with a $35 preferred service, you get 4 free months of roadside assistance, including tire change, battery jump, lockout service, towing, and more. Contact Lewis Meineke, located on Route 1, or call 827-2054.
When do you think of a plumber? Like most people, even if it's an emergency, you can be confident about who will arrive to help you. For quality and reliability, count on someone you can trust. Call on the plumbing services of Hague Quality Water of Maryland. Plumbing doesn't have to be an emergency. We handle all kinds of preventative maintenance too. Hague Quality Water of Maryland is family owned here in Annapolis since 1993. For a refreshing choice, call us at 888-84-WATER or visit us online.
Hello, race fans. This is Chris Wright. Thanks for listening to these guys. Some great radio hosts. You're listening to the Inside Pass.
Hey, Chris, your driver was just on just a minute ago. Welcome back to the Inside Pass. Randy Miller, Noah Lewis, Tom Baker, Peter Strada, Melik pushing buttons for us. Our debate-style format starts right now with round number one. As you guys probably know, none of this makes any sense to anybody here, but it's my show and I can do what I want. So I score points based on whatever I'm feeling tonight.
That's a Sealman line there.
That's how this works. It's kind of like a organized Daytona train wreck. That's pretty much how we're going to organize this. So Tom has the buttons. So if you hear random buttons periodically during the course of the segment, it's because he either likes what he heard or didn't like what he heard. He has a button for each. So Melik is going to be our moderator. He'll ask the questions. Peter will start, and we'll just go counterclockwise or counterclockwise. I'm over here on the corner, and I have this little corner area of the desk, and somebody who's 6 feet tall does not need to be sitting.
So are you going first, or is Peter going
Peter's
first?
going first.
Oh,
okay,
that makes me nervous.
Right,
I've never not gone like first or second, so now I'm nervous. I'm getting the scraps.
But you're giving you take a week's vacation. All right, go ahead.
Wayne Taylor Racing wins the Rolex 24 for its third time in 4 years. How impressive is their streak?
I think it's very impressive, and they've won these 4 races across 2 different manufacturers. The previous 3 times they had Cadillac DPIs with full factory support from GM, and this time they had the old Penske Acura cars and a relatively new team with some new drivers. They brought on board Elio Castroneves and Alexander Rossi this year, and this just shows how cohesive a team, how just overall strong a group they are over there at Wayne Taylor Racing to win 4 of 5. I think it's one of the greatest streaks in the history of this race.
The streak is very impressive, but having Wayne Taylor in victory lane say, I might have had just a touch of vodka there in the closing laps, and Elio Castroneves in victory lane doing, Elio Castroneves things was even more impressive. That was a big statement from those guys, and I think that was a fantastic 24-hour race, and I'm sure we'll talk about some of the other cars later, but the streak was very impressive. I just thought victory lane was extra impressive.
Oh, yeah. Not only the vodka, but the oopsie drop of an F-bomb within the NBC interview as well. And you can tell nerves were still just as high in victory lane as they were when he climbed off that box. But, yeah, very, very, very impressive. Just about as impressive as my karaoke would have been if Melik had unmuted our mics coming back from break there. So
At least you weren't singing Pitbull.
That's a lot, yeah. Oh, no, I was.
Well, you were singing Randy Bachman. It's not that high of a standard.
My question is that if you knew he was doing vodka, you knew he was taking vodka shots, before the interview, why would you continue? Why would you continue pushing your buttons, knowing that something bad, nothing ever good happens when you have vodka, and then you have a microphone and a camera.
That's when you say, "Well, we actually have to cut to commercial."
Oh, I'm so sorry. No, we're out of here.
Very authentic victory lane.
Well, it makes me wonder if he only did that so he could understand his drivers better when they talk. I'm thinking
I think that gets some points.
The vodka might have helped him a little bit. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah.
How respectable is the finishing positions of Jimmy Johnson and Chase Elliott?
I mean, Jimmy's finished second in the Rolex 24 2 previous times, and this time with the Action Express Ally 48 Cadillac, he finished second again. So tied his best finish in the race. If, like we said just off air, if Kamui Koyabashi did not spin late in the race in the closing hours. Yeah, really. Bless me. If that car did not spin and going into turn one a couple hours later into the race, then they could have been closer to Wayne Taylor late in the going. But still, second place is beating a lot of cars and a very respectable finish. And as for Chase Elliott, the car just had a mechanical issue late in the race, and just there's nothing you can do about that. It's racing.
So you had 3 professional road course racers in the 48 car, and Jimmy Johnson, who probably doesn't do nearly as much. And 2 of those professional road course racers spun the car, and Jimmy Johnson did. That, to me, is the impressive stat of the race. I thought Jimmy did a great job. Chase also did a great job. He was very down on himself after his first stint, but by the end of the race, with a car that wasn't in contention but certainly was still plenty capable of fast laps, Chase went out, and I think he kind of found his groove a little bit. It was great to see both of them in the race, and I think you're going to see them both back again next year, I would guess.
Yeah, copy paste all of that. It was great to see. It was great to see Jimmy, and Jimmy's doing everything he can right now, especially on road course stuff, because that's what he's doing on the IndyCar side. So any experience is experience. And Chase Elliott, of course, the mechanical issue, he was, like you said, down on himself in the first part of that race. But he did come back to run more consistent. He was more proud of himself by the end of the event and did express how much he did want to come back. So very respectable.
Yeah, Chase is so disappointed he didn't win the Rolex. He's going to go run the USAC sprint car instead down in Florida this week because he wants to go run sprint cars. So
Chase is running everything.
Chase is running everything these days. With Jimmy, it makes me wonder if Jimmy gets disappointed when he walks into the shop at Hendrick and sees Gordon's Rolex trophy and stuff sitting in the
so
shop.
close.
He's like,
so many times.
I got second twice. I want to win the trophy.
Well, I think he said he'd run it again too, right? He said he hoped to be back next year or something like that.
Yeah. So I mean, respectable job. Anytime a NASCAR driver does something out of the ordinary, it makes you stand up and take notice. And obviously, I mean, those two guys are the epitome of what being a superstar NASCAR driver is like. And eventually, I think both of them. If Chase wants to continue trying to run the Rolex, eventually he's going to get his trophy too.
Jimmy actually led.
He did.
For a while. Okay, and so think about how quickly he adapted to that car, and then ask yourself, what should we expect from him in the Indy car?
Yep, absolutely.
Remarkable.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
Turn your mic on,
I didn't
Noah.
have my mic on.
Minus 1 point.
I got to turn my mic off over here when I click all the buttons.
The moderator doesn't get points, luckily.
Luckily, yeah. I got to turn my mic off when I'm over here clicking buttons so you don't hear all the clicking
Have you been
noise.
taking vodka too?
Yeah, I got vodka in my water here tonight. I'm sorry, folks.
Don't drop any F-bombs.
Yeah, no F-bombs in the studio.
What do you mean, don't drop the fun word?
Oh, okay. That's exactly.
Because that's what we're supposed to be having tonight?
I got nervous for a second. My eyes were big.
Yeah.
What current Cup driver would you like to see run the Rolex 24?
For drivers who have not run this race, I'd love to see Denny Hamlin, 3-time Daytona 500 champion. I'd love to see what he could do in a DPI car on the road course, because think back to the Cup race on the Daytona road course. He was a very, very close second to Chase Elliott, so he nearly won the inaugural Cup race on that course. I'd love to see what he could do in a sports car on that course, and I'll give a little caveat to this answer. I'd love to see Kyle Busch in a DPI actually up front contending among the race-winning capable cars, because last year we saw him in the GT class where he wasn't much of a factor for the overall win.
I've got the definitive answer here. I want to see a Kaulig Racing entry into this with AJ Justin and Kaz Grala, who, by the way, all qualify as Cup drivers at this point.
Very true. That's true.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Ryan Blaney go ahead and attempt the 24. Yeah. He's got success. He's got a win over at Charlotte Roval. He knows how to get some stuff done on road courses, and I think Blaney would be a good candidate to hop in one of those cars.
I like the idea of Kaulig Racing. I think a Hendrick, entry would be nice too, with Larson and Bowman and Byron.
Byron's
Chase
got some
Elliott.
road course skills.
Yeah, I think that'd be nice.
Don't forget Chase Briscoe either.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that'd be a good one too.
I mean, I love the trend of these younger drivers wanting to go do these other things.
Even Fast Pasta would be good, I think, running the 24.
Yeah, sure, that'd be fun.
For sure.
Since it looks like we're going to have a little extra time in here, we'll just do a rapid fire one real quick. I'll toss in there. Other than a Cup driver, who do you want to see do it? What other driver? So if you don't get to choose a Cup driver, Xfinity or trucks, who's your one guy?
Oh, no.
Does Chase Briscoe still count as Xfinity? Because
No.
I picked him.
As of December 31st,
no.
All right, then I'll go with Justin Allgaier because he's proven his worth on road courses in Xfinity, and I think he'd be up front in the right car with the right team contending for the win of the Rolex 24.
I'm going to take a long shot on this and say I would love to see Sam Mayer, who is going to be an Xfinity driver this year. I'd love to see him in the 24 because he has got some serious road course skills for someone so young, and I think that's going to be a scenario where we could see him pull off a win for Junior Motorsports in the second half of the year.
Are we counting Austin Cindric as Cup driver?
Oh. No, well, he said any driver other than Cup.
Okay,
so
yeah,
you
Austin
got
Cindric.
it. That's
yeah.
that's
I think
the
that's the answer
yeah.
there. I don't know why he was left on the. I was like, am I missing something? Or no, Austin Cindric for sure would put on a show. I mean, he puts on a show in anything.
No doubt.
When he wasn't even, I didn't think about that until you said it. My thought was Christian Eckes.
So I get extra points for that one. No, I'm just kidding.
Christian's technically on the sideline.
I can't do half a point.
There again, look at how many drivers we just named that aren't in Cup but still are great road course racers. That says a lot.
It says a lot about what's to come for our series. I mean, we have more road course races. We have more road course drivers.
If NASCAR was to hold its own version of the 24-hour race, what venue would you like to see it held at?
I think you'd have to go with a Roval, whether it's Daytona or Charlotte. And I know this wouldn't exactly be a 24-hour race, but I'd love to see a race with the Cup, Xfinity, and Truck playoff drivers all racing together in a multi-class race.
At the same time.
At the same time.
In their respective vehicle.
Yes, exactly.
That would be very cool.
It would be cool to see.
Watkins Glen International.
Ooh.
That's where I'd like to see it. I think that would be an amazing 24-hour venue, but Daytona would be the obvious choice.
Well, I'd say if it's NASCAR's own deal, then we got to go to NASCAR's backyard over to the Charlotte Roval and see what we can put on there.
Yeah, I was going to say the Roval, too. I just figure, again, if you're going to do it in NASCAR country, you might as well do it in their own backyard. But, I mean, there's so many road course races, so many road course facilities that you could do it. You know, Sebring comes to mind, Laguna Seca, Road Atlanta, Road America. I mean, there's so many different tracks that I feel like would make a good track to run a 24-hour race on.
Road America would be. I think Road America would be very good.
Yeah,
big wide track.
Yep.
That's a great question.
Yeah, it's a great question to ponder too. I mean, obviously it would never happen, and as we get, with each year of the Rolex, we get more and more NASCAR guys in, and it's pretty much 50-50 NASCAR and IMCA guys at this point. But it's just, I feel like you have to pick a IMSA. You'd have to pick a road course. An oval obviously wouldn't work. It'd be more like an endurance race you would find in a local Saturday night dirt track at that point, and then. Would you throw out the caution flags just wherever they sit? Like a true endurance race would be. But with the speeds and stuff, it'd be kind of hard to do it like that. But it would be very scary, but it'd be very fun to think about. About the what ifs. That's for sure. All right, round number 2 is coming up after the break. Noah and Peter are tied. Oddly enough, I don't know how that happened. We got to get with somebody on that math. We'll be back with more of the Inside Pass right after this.
How to be a great dad in 15 seconds. Bike ride, go fish, walk in the park, phone call, milkshake, play catch, picnic, fly a kite, tell jokes, laugh, talk, read a story, tell a story, bumper car, swing set, bowling, pillow fight, cut loose, stay tight. Whew. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Automotive technicians and auto service trainees, how would you like to work at the beach and perform for one of the best car care centers in the nation? Louis Meineke is now looking for skilled automotive technicians to join their award-winning team. If you're a gearhead that knows his or her stuff or a young up-and-comer that has the motivation and drive to succeed, then you need to make this call today. 302-827-2054. Louis Meineke Car Care Center, located in beautiful Lewis, Delaware, offers a highly competitive compensation plan, great benefits, a flexible schedule, and did we mention that you're going to be working at the beach? Plus, there's a signing bonus for the right candidates. Technicians must be ASE certified and have a minimum of 6 years experience. Beginners advance at your own pace in one of several entry-level positions. But whatever you do, don't wait. These jobs will go fast. Call Tim at 302-827-2054. That's 302-827-2054. Louis Meineke Car Care Center. Rev up your career.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right. It's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
Victory Custom Trailers is the place to go for your next new or used trailer or coach. Being personally involved in the racing community allows Victory to fully understand what racers need in a trailer. They have over 200 coaches and trailers in stock for a variety of industries, and they can serve anyone in the continental U.S. If you're looking for something custom, they can assist in designing a trailer that fit your needs. Check out their entire inventory online at victorycustomtrailers.com.
He wanted to be known for doing his best. Sure, right. His best made him Major League Baseball's most valuable player. Strike two. He played in 6 World Series and was elected to the Hall of Fame. Although an honest man, he was best at stealing home. But the best quality of Jackie Robinson's life was his character. So here's to you, Mr. Robinson. Thanks for passing it on. From the Foundation for a Better Life at Values.com.
I'm Chase Elliott, and you're listening to the Inside Pass.
Welcome back to the Inside Pass here on WSIC. Randy Miller, Tom Baker, Noah Lewis, Peter Strada, all sitting around the round table, and Malik pushing buttons for us. We were talking about the over-unders on how long everybody lasted for the Rolex 24, and Noah won. He made it. Did you make it the entire way? No?
I didn't. I slept for a couple of hours from like 7 to 11. But it would make sense that I made it the longest, I think.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
The funny thing is,
negative points for him.
About 4 a.m., Noah's like, this is getting harder. I'm just like, man, I'm 53, and I figured I'd be out by now, and I'm wide awake.
I know. Everybody
What's up with you youngins?
Everyone was casually dropping like flies. First we had Peter and Tom, and then Tom finally left me around 5, and then I said, well, there's nothing to Actually, what made me go to sleep was Peter texted me at around 6 and says, hey, I'm up now. And I'm like, oh, my God, he slept and gotten up, and I'm still awake. I'm going to sleep. Like, this is insane.
I went to bed around 2:30 and set an alarm for 6, so about 4 hours of sleep.
You voluntarily went to bed.
I was getting pretty tough.
My pick won, though.
He's the only one of the group that didn't wake up in a strange place.
Tom walked me into picking Wayne Taylor, and it won, so I'm happy.
I was trying to make it until 3 when it went off of TV and back on Track Pass, but not quite.
Speaking of back on track, take us away.
Right, round number 2 is up now. It's in. We'll send it back over to Red.
HMS unveiled the first colors for Kyle Larson's Nation's Guard car. This scheme is a throwback to Ricky Hendrick. How excited are you to see this on track?
It's a decent scheme. I'm looking at it now. I like that shade of green that's on it, but I just wish they would have used the color more. I get that it's a throwback to Ricky Hendrick and Brian Vickers. It's kind of the Nike swoosh that's not a Nike swoosh scheme, which looked cool on William Byron's car with the right colors last year. But on this, if I'm grading it, it gets a B or a B minus. But excited to see it on track. Yeah, I'm really excited to see Larson in a Hendrick car, and I'm sure he'll kick butt in this scheme.
I'm going to give it an A because I think it's an awesome scheme. I do wish they'd put more green on it, but just because that's my favorite color. But I think it's very well done. It looks great, and I think it's the perfect way to bring Kyle back with a Ricky Hendrick tribute scheme.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to give it an A+ because I really just like how different it is. You don't really see many cars of this shade of green and then the black. And like we said, it's somewhat of a throwback type of scheme, but it's his own. It's Kyle's own throwback, and I've really, ever since I've seen it, I've liked it. So I think it's one of the better Hendrick schemes that we've seen.
You know, you can make this car 18 shades of purple. It wouldn't bother me because the fact that he actually has a sponsor that came on board and decided, you know what, I'm not going to listen to anything that anybody says. I'm going to go with it, and we're going to see what happens. And they went on board with Kyle Larson, and that's all you can ever ask for is. Hold on, I'm reading something real quick.
Hang on, I suspect I'm going to have to do my best Sealman impression.
Yeah, we got some not so good news. I'll go ahead and let Randy toss it if he wants to. It's up to you there, buddy.
Yeah,
if you want to say
this is off of Twitter, right?
Yes.
Yeah, from Beard Motorsports. It is with profound sadness that we announce the passing of Mark Beard Sr., president of Beard Motorsports. Mark was passionate about racing and the business he built with his family, and even though he will be terribly missed, his work ethic and kind heart lives on with the many people he influenced. While the family requests privacy at this time, they want to reaffirm Beard Motorsports' commitment to compete in this year's Daytona 500, but the team will race in Mark's honor.
Wow. That's too bad. Let me tell you, if anyone thinks that Noah Gregson is not going to rise to the occasion and be even more determined, because I know Noah well enough to know what a big heart he has, and he wears his emotion on his sleeves, and they have got absolutely the right driver to go out and put him in the 500.
Talk about determination.
That's the perfect way to put it. I mean, this is what brings the desire of a team more so than anything. It's horrible. The news is very horrible, but this will push them more so than anything could, just to get out there and perform their best.
Yeah, our prayers and condolences to the family.
JTG will run the 37 as an open car with no charter, and Priest will run at least 24 races. Thoughts on this situation?
I hate it for Priest. He's such a talented young driver. He came from the modified scene up north in Connecticut. Not many modified drivers have made it to the Cup Series, so I was excited when he came on board for the Cup Series a couple years ago, and just his career is really at a crossroads, and I fear that he'll have to perform this year, and in an open car, there's a chance he'll miss multiple races this year. So, got to get 2 thumbs down to this news, because Brian Priest, he's a bright young driver who I think is very talented, and just his future is so in doubt.
I think this whole situation it just shows how, in at least from the standpoint of the fans, how completely bogus this whole charter situation has gotten. And I think that it proves that NASCAR needs to take an immediate look after this year. The charter was supposed to help. It was supposed to be an asset for the teams to be able to get longer-term partnerships. Where in the wide world of sports is that notion in this situation when JTG loses a charter because some guy who's not even involved in the sport, as far as I know at this point, takes that charter and goes and gives it to another team who then gives it to another team for this year. So, no, I'm not impressed at all, and I think it's a shame for Ryan Priest. I don't totally blame JTG, but NASCAR's got to look at this because I think it's a mess right now.
Yeah, it's really hard to comment on without knowing the details of what they're going on. I mean, we had Matt Tift and Parker Kligerman both on Twitter this past weekend trying to explain to a fan that had asked about it, and actually saying that, I mean, Matt Tift was one to say that he, it's a misconfused concept because he loves the value that a charter brings, and the same for Parker Kligerman. And they said it's working more so than they thought. It's working into what NASCAR has planned. So it's hard to really say, but it's for Priest, it's not a good deal, of course, and for what's going through in that situation, it's no good deal. And we hope that he can run.
Did you just say misconfused?
Misconfused. Did I say that?
Misconfused. This George W.
Negative
Bush
point.
moment brought to you by Noah Lewis.
Whoops.
Randy, negative points.
I don't even. I want to just give all of his points away at this point. What in the world kind of word? Where did you go to school?
Well,
where do you go?
I was reading at the same time I was talking, and
I would offer you.
And we all know how that works out for you most of the time.
Well, okay.
My name is Luca. I walked into a door again.
You know what? I wasn't walking this
He's
time.
sitting still. He can't even talk when he's sitting still. There's no hope for you at this point. No.
Do you want to answer the question, Randy?
I don't even know what the question was again. Hold on. Let me go back and look. Oh yeah, it was about the charter system.
Yes.
Yeah,
all I'm going to say, we had Bob Pockris on last week, and he can't even explain it to you.
Well, he explained it. I just didn't. I don't totally. I know. I think he explained what NASCAR intends it to be.
Right.
I don't think it's what NASCAR intends it to be anymore.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Dale Coyne Racing and Rick Ware Racing are joining forces to run in the IndyCar Series in 2021. Thoughts on the partnership and what it means for the competitiveness for both teams?
See, that's a word.
If it means another full-time IndyCar to make the grid and races outside of the 500, I'm all for it, because outside of the 500, IndyCar is a real issue with cars showing up and competing for the full season. Typically, they've gotten 20 or 25 cars, and if it's one more, then I'm all for it. And with how spec racing IndyCar is, I think that if they put a competent driver in that car, they could turn heads and, hey, maybe get top 10s, maybe get a surprise podium.
Read the question again. I want to make sure I understand exactly what the intent is.
Dale Coyne Racing and Rick Ware Racing joined forces to run in the IndyCar Series in 2021. Okay. Thoughts on the partnership and what it means for their competitiveness for both teams?
Well, given that the talk was that Roman Grosjean and Cody Ware will fill the seat in that car, I think it's a very interesting, if not a little bit perplexing move here. I mean, I'm thrilled for Cody to get a shot, but I don't know where his experience base is that and it would be interesting to see Roman Grosjean, and I know Coyne wanted him. I think it's great that they're doing this. I just don't know if I quite understand, other than just to offer more places for sponsors to be put, more diversity. I don't really know what they're trying to do.
It's misconfusion.
It's really misconfusion. You don't. We won't really know what exactly it looks like until we see it out on the track, of course. But we hope the best. I hope the best for them, and that will bring some success.
Yeah, I'm like Peter. As long as it equals
Are
more
you
cars
misconfused?
No, not this time. As long as it brings more cars, but now you miscombobulated me. Oh, thank you. That's a word, I think.
That would be discombobulated.
Whatever. Everybody's missing today.
Spell discombobulated.
No, thank you. Anyway, as long as it brings more cars on the track, I'm all for it. Because, that's what we need. Is more cars, more sponsors, more teams, more drivers.
Ty Dillon is set to run a partial schedule in the JGR Xfinity car, splitting time with Ty Gibbs. Does this seem like Grandchild has gone rogue?
I think the Grandchild's definitely gone rogue if he leaves one of the legacy Chevrolet teams and goes to a Toyota. But ultimately, Ty Dillon needs to prove his relevance again in the sport by winning. I think he's stepping into the strongest car in the Xfinity Series, and I really hope that in 2021 he gets his first NASCAR national win in 7 years.
The fact that I made them two laugh, I give myself a point.
Well, I think that was the first time Red had read the question. When he got there, he was like,
"Great." Yeah, I was kind of like, "What?"
Listen, didn't say
misconfused.
He looked misconfused.
Yeah, I was definitely confused. Like, what?
Coming up at 8, Grandkids Gone Rogue.
NASCAR edition.
I don't even know. No, I don't think he's gone rogue. I think it's great for Ty to be able to go, look, this is the best opportunity Ty Dillon's ever had. Arguably, RCR's Xfinity program certainly is a championship program. They proved that, but this is a great opportunity for Ty because I think it could lead potentially to maybe something else in Cup if he can go and show well. I think this could revitalize his career in a way that nothing else he could have gotten could have.
Real quick, Noah.
Urban Dictionary says a state of being misguided and confused at the same time is misconfused. So,
all right, fine, you got us. Just don't try to spell it with Scrabble.
We're going to
take a break. Back with more of the Inside Pass in just a minute. Hopefully, as long as we don't get kicked off the air.
How to be a great dad in 15 seconds. Bike ride, go fish, walk in the park, phone call, milkshake, play catch, picnic, fly a kite, tell jokes, laugh, talk, read a story, tell a story, bumper car, swing set, bowling, pillow fight, cut loose, stay tight. Whew. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Automotive technicians and auto service trainees, how would you like to work at the beach and perform for one of the best car care centers in the nation? Louis Meineke is now looking for skilled automotive technicians to join their award-winning team. If you're a gearhead that knows his or her stuff or a young up-and-comer that has the motivation and drive to succeed, then you need to make this call today. 302-827-2054. Louis Meineke Car Care Center, located in beautiful Lewis, Delaware, offers a highly competitive compensation plan, great benefits, a flexible schedule, and did we mention that you're going to be working at the beach? Plus, there's a signing bonus for the right candidates. Technicians must be ASE certified and have a minimum of 6 years experience. Beginners advance at your own pace in one of several entry-level positions. But whatever you do, don't wait. These jobs will go fast. Call Tim at 302-827-2054. That's 302-827-2054. Louis Meineke Car Care Center. Rev up your career.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right. It's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
He wanted to be known for doing his best. Sure right. His best made him Major League Baseball's most valuable player. Strike two. He played in 6 World Series and was elected to the Hall of Fame. Although an honest man, he was best at stealing home. But the best quality of Jackie Robinson's life was his character. So here's to you, Mr. Robinson. Thanks for passing it on. From the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com.
When Marlon Shirley was 5 years old, he was in an accident and lost his foot, but he didn't lose his heart.
When you tackle a challenge that you just cannot even fathom tackling, when you accomplish that, the amount of integrity and the will and the heart that you'll get from that experience is what will set you up for your life.
In less time than it took Marlon Shirley to say that, he can now run 100 meters because today he's the world's fastest amputee. Overcome it. Pass it on from the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com.
Hi, my name's Eric Jones, and you're listening to the Inside Pass.
Welcome back to the Inside Pass here on WSIC. Randy Miller, Tom Baker, Peter Strada, Noah Lewis. We've proven two things during the commercial break, that both of those words are actual words if you go over the Urban Dictionary, and none of us have drank vodka tonight, so we are still in good spirits.
Time to start.
Round number 3 coming up in just a second is I'm going to let Melly get his stuff together over there first, and then let you guys know that if you missed any part of the interview with Kaz Grala, you can catch it on demand any point in time this week. Just go to your favorite podcasting website and search Race Chaser Radio, or you can search the Inside Pass. They're both on there. And if you want to listen to any of the on-demand versions of our show, Madness or Lead Lap, which is coming up right after this show, go to racechaseronline.com, and they're all right there for you to hear whenever you want. All right, round number 3.
GM wants all electric cars by 2035. That's going to make GM blank.
It's going to transform GM for sure, and with the engine package coming the year after the next-gen car in 2023, we believe that it'll have some electric components to help make more power than the current Cup engines do. So the next decade or so for motorsports in general will be very interesting to see how they transition from gas-powered engines to possible electric engines. We've seen this be not so successful with Formula E and other series, but I don't think NASCAR is going to turn into a series with Chevrolet Volts and Toyota Priuses, but we'll see what happens. It'll be an interesting next decade or so to see what happens with engines.
It will make GM irrelevant because I don't believe, first of all, we get to that goal by 2035. And second of all, I don't think that in general most people really want it. I don't think these people understand that you still have to recycle all of this green environmental stuff, and it's all very, very dirty and messy to recycle. So I think somewhere between now and the next 5-10 years, somebody's going to have a light bulb moment and realize that a lot of this stuff is a nice theory, but it's not actually going to be good long term.
Yeah, I think it's going to make what they're trying to make it, GM, is with the times. You know, we talk about this transition of to electric cars, and it's been very controversial, understandably, within the motorsports world and within our just day-to-day world. So I think they think it's going to make them with the times. But like Tom said, we don't know how it's going to be by 2035, and like you said, I don't think that we'll completely be there by then.
No.
So it'll be interesting for sure.
Yeah, I sentiment all of those statements. My part of my brain was going to say that it's going to make GM hope there's not a power outage, because if it's an electrical powered car, we're going to be stopped for quite some time. But there's a lot of working parts that have to go into making these race ready cars if we're going to do electric NASCAR in 2040 or whatever the case may be, because it's going to be a few years after that before NASCAR gets on that bandwagon. But it'll be interesting to see what happens over the next 2 or 20 years or so.
The Daytona 500, expecting 30,000 fans, is blank.
Underwhelming. Daytona International Speedway has grandstand capacity for 101,000 people. I wanted to see this number be at least 50,000, if not 60,000, or maybe something around that number, because the week before at the Super Bowl, the stadium in Tampa holds just over 65,000, and they're having about 20 or 30,000 people too, I believe. I think with how much larger Daytona is, how much longer that section of grandstands is, I believe it's a mile long. I think that they can fit more people while maintaining social distancing, while maintaining all the CDC guidelines. So seeing that number be so low, I believe that's the same number the All-Star race at Bristol had this year. Just that number of fans is just underwhelming for me.
It is disappointing because I think that, honestly, for all the reasons Peter just stated, we could have put more fans in there. And I think, at this point in time, we ought to be able to understand that we can put a number of people in one place and do all of the testing and the precautions and all of that without still being so scared of this sort of super spreader nonsense that we've all been talking about for months, but that has never really been proven with a lick of science. I mean, I think we need to just get out of this mindset of being so afraid of our own shadow at this point and focus on treatment and cures and leave it at that.
Yeah, I'm with you guys 100% on how it's underwhelming, and it's not what we want to see. We want to see more fans, obviously. In Daytona, like we said, their grandstands are big and wide enough to hold much more at a safe capacity if that's what they're wanting. If they're wanting social distance and you have your own kind of section, there is more than enough room to distance those folks out, more than 30,000 fans. So I am glad, however, that we will have some fans at Daytona, of course. I mean, that is to be expected. That's awesome. But it is a little bit of an underwhelming number.
Well, I'm a glass half full kind of guy, so I'm going to say it's awesome because considering where we've been for the last year with no fans on hardly any of the racetracks, having 30,000 fans is going to be like a sellout crowd for most of us, for most of the fact that we haven't had fans in the stands for a while. So,
Drew Dollar running 8 races for KBM is blank.
It's very interesting because Drew Dollar's been a standout in ARCA East and in the National ARCA Series for the past couple of years, and him stepping into the flagship KBM truck, that 51, is on paper the best ride in the truck series, so you'd think he'd be up front in contention to win a couple of those 8 races, and I'm excited to see him make the next step up into the truck series as part of the Toyota driver development program.
I think it's dangerous, and I'm not saying that in the sense that I think Drew's going to go crash, everybody or whatever, and nothing to do with his driving. Why I say it's dangerous is because all of a sudden you take a kid who's only been racing for about 4 years now, and you put him into the truck team that gets the most attention out of anybody else in the series and throw him out there for 8 races. I think this is a really big stage for him. I do believe that he'll be fast. I just don't know if he's quite ready to step up into a series as competitive as the truck series, and I think it puts him under a great deal of pressure to go perform when otherwise with a different team he might not be under that same spotlight.
Yeah, you kind of stole my point there. I think it's a little overwhelming. I mean, you think of what he's got to jump into. Like you said, it's been one of the best, if not the best truck over the last few years in the truck series. And like you said, with the most attention on it, we see Kyle Busch in that truck. So from time to time. So, yeah, I mean, it is a bit of a scary opportunity to jump in even for just those 8 races because you are expected to jump in and perform in a KBM equipment truck. And like you said, he hasn't had very, very much experience to be able to jump in and feel confident about that. So it's a bit overwhelming to me, but I think Drew will do great.
Yeah, I was going to say it's pretty much a pressure cooker for him because, as Tom said, it's the 51. That's the truck in the KBM stable. And if he doesn't go out and win the race, KBM, Kyle Busch is probably just going to kick him out and he won't get to run the other 7 races he decided to do. But in all fairness, that is the truck. That is the KBM truck. And Kyle's going to expect that truck in victory lane no matter who's behind the wheel of it because if he can do it, everybody else should be able to too. So there's a lot of things going on at KBM. A new set of drivers coming into the forefront this year for that team for the 3rd consecutive year. So there's a lot of things going on over there that, maybe he can fly under the radar for a little while, but, Kyle expects results. And if those results aren't happening, then somebody's getting the back seat. So
this will be our probably final question. We got about a minute and a half left here. The return of the iRacing Invitational is blank.
It's very questionable because I feel like the luster is worn off from televised iRaces, no matter who's in the car, even if it's Dale Jr. and Jeff Gordon, because it was fun while it was at the height of the pandemic and nothing else was on TV. We were all locked at home with nothing else to do, but I feel like even last year with the last couple iRaces, it just got old quickly.
It's meh. because I think it'll be funny and enjoyable, and yet it won't have the same impact as it had last year because it filled a very big void last year, whereas this year it's just another of the many iRacing series that are out there.
Yeah, it's gimmicky to me a little bit. Like we said, when we were all stuck when we were all, not misconfused, but when we were all stuck at home with nothing else to watch, and it was a brand new kind of thing to see all of our guys out there, it was awesome to see. When we do have our actual racing on, it may not be the best.
No, I made us all tied because I really don't care this week. Anyway, next week
I won.
Nick
Misconfused.
will be on here. I don't know if he's going to be here for the whole show, but we are going to start fantasy NASCAR next week because the 500 is the following week, so we got to do fantasy NASCAR. So we'll get him on at least to make his picks, if nothing else, and our final four for the championship at the end of the season. That's always fun because nobody's ever right there either. We'll see you guys next week. Coming up next. Goodbye, everybody.